Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Son of a Silver Stacker, and you're watching numismatic news and information for the 8th day of October, 2023. Now let's get over to it. Bam! This is CoinWeek.com, and it's written by CoinWeek, and it's dated October 7, 2023. The title of this article is Would Returning to the Gold Standard Be a Bad Idea? Notice how they don't say would it be a bad idea or a good idea. They just yeah, let's just go ahead and spell this one out. And I think there's a reason why, a really good reason why we're not on the gold standard anymore. And I got to show this to you. It's really obvious why. All right, here we go. We're the World Gold Council, and this is the classical gold standard. And I'm going to scroll down here just to this little part right here. It says how the gold standard worked. Now it says here, under the gold standard, a country's money supply was linked to gold. The necessity of being able to convert fiat money into gold on demand strictly limited, here we go, the amount of fiat currency or money in circulation to a multiple of the central bank's gold reserves. So there you go, folks. The central banks couldn't print more money than there was gold in their vaults, okay? So now they get rid of the gold standard, they can print willy-nilly, right? Isn't that something? So here we go. This is the Google AI experimental thing here. Only the U.S. government can print money out of thin air. The Federal Reserve can create money by buying assets like treasuries, mortgage-backed securities, and corporate debt. The Fed can purchase infinite amount of assets. Because why? Yeah, thin air. Isn't that something? Now let's get back to this article over here at CoinWeek.com. I don't know, man. It's like I scratch my head. I'm like, well, wait a minute. What are you guys doing to us? Because I mean, let's face it. I think their argument is that it's well. Let me just get to it. It's just a head scratching moment for me. All right. Now, it's like I said, this is by CoinWeek, and it says here most coin collectors know about the gold standard, and many American collectors are aware of the bimetallic system under which the United States operated when Congress wrote the Mint Act of 1792, which established the United States Mint and gave name to the coins that would serve as our money. All right, that's fair enough. Seems reasonable. The push away from silver to a gold standard began to take root in the early 19th century, 30 years after the U.S. Mint was established. The United Kingdom adopted a gold standard. It was then widely adopted by other countries in Europe as well. The gold standard was a monetary system wherein each unit of currency had a fixed value in terms of gold. All right. Look for that other one about money supply too. This means that government would guarantee to convert its paper money, fiat money, into a specific amount of gold specie upon request. The adoption of the gold standard in the United States was a contentious issue, dominating American politics in the late 19th century. After the U.S. adopted the de facto standard in 1879, a formal gold standard was later adopted in 1900. Now, within a decade, the system was already creaking. What does that mean? World War I put massive pressure on the system, but the Great Depression ended it. Oh boy, they're talking about the Great Depression. And I got something for you to watch at the end. Well, not watch, but share with you at the end, near the end of this article. It's a real eye-opener. Now, it says here, one major issue with the gold standard is its rigidity. It means it's not malleable. It's stiff, right? The value of a country's currency is, here we go, is tied to the amount of gold it holds, meaning there is little room for flexibility in times of economic instability. Wonder why. This became apparent during the Great Depression in the 1930s when countries on the gold standard were forced to raise interest rates and cut government spending in order to maintain their gold reserves. Yeah, cutting government spending, that's a real bad idea. Don't do that ever. Why would you want to do that? This has only worsened the economic downturn, leading to widespread unemployment and poverty. What? Yowza. And I got to show you. I'm going to go here now. I don't even want to wait. Now, this is the troubadour.com. And this is called The Silent Depression by Samantha. And this is dated September 10, 2023. And it says here, she's a columnist. In the current economy of 2023, Americans are experiencing higher costs of living expenses and lower wages than at the height of the Great Depression in 1930. And we're not even on a gold standard. I wonder what's up with that. So who's full of it, right? Not only are we fighting our way through a recession, but we're fighting silently as these statistics are dismissed by politicians and mainstream media outlets. It has since been coined the silent depression. For those who are skeptical, the following statistics are all Google-able information that formed the foundation for the growing outrage on social media. Now here we go. In 1930, the average annual income of a single American was a little over $4,800 based on the United States Internal Revenue Report for that year. Accounting for inflation over the years, that number reaches just less than $85,000 a year today. Now, who's making $85K a year, right? Because that's equal to 4,800 back in the day when they had the Great Depression. Now, unfortunately or regrettably for us, the current average income for a single American is only 56,000, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, that's BLS, meaning that as of 2023, Americans are making less than they were at the height of the Great Depression. What? Yowza, that's brutal. Now, these numbers are not limited to annual income. The price per gallon of gas, new cars, and even homes are equally as affected, if not more seriously so. In 1930, gas was an average of 10 cents per gallon based on an article from Newsweek, which equates to about $1.73. Now, are you filling up your tank for $1.73? I bet you wish you were. However, the average price of gas across the United States in 2023 was $3.55 a gallon, according to Finder Economics. Yeah, yowza, right? Come on. Especially for those people who rely on cars to travel for work or school, the price difference is staggering. At the height of the recession in 1930, a new car cost approximately $860. Where's that car now? According to a Newsweek article. Now that number is comparable to $15,000. A new car for $15,000. I think a lot of people would be like, sign me up. Yet the average price of a new car purchased from a dealer in 2023 is $48,000 based on the data from Kelley Blue Book. This has caused monthly car payments to increase exponentially, meaning a higher percentage of people's paychecks are going towards these payments. Folks, it's all there in black and white. You can go to Google and find this out. This is brutal. This is ugly. And it even goes for home prices, too. The scenario leaves less money available for other expenses, savings, and even retirement and investing. That's right. I don't think anybody has any money for retirement anymore unless you're a gazillionaire. And even then, you're probably living paycheck to paycheck. Last, but certainly not least, is the cost of the American dream. And that's to own a home. Well, you got to be asleep to believe it, I guess. Now, most students are aware of the skyrocketing cost of rent nowadays, but the exact number are astonishing, either way. In 1930, the average cost of a home was $3,900, according to Newsweek. This correlates with a little less than $70,000 nowadays. Wouldn't that be nice? Buy a new home, a beautiful new home for your wife and family and your kids or whoever. Yeah, for $70K. Sign me up. In spite of that, the average cost of the home in America, independent of the quality or amount of land associated with it, is $416,000, according to the Motley Fool research team. These are frightening numbers. These are the kinds of data voters need to take into consideration when voting in the upcoming presidential election. The silent depression needs to be acknowledged and is properly addressed. Inflation and price hikes are not costing the politicians and legislators. They're costing the middle and lower class American people. The middle class is the smallest it's ever been because of this recession or silent depression, whatever you want to call it. And the middle class is what drives our country. As the election campaigns persist, continue to observe and collect your own data before you vote. Do we want leaders? Well, what's a leader? A leader? I don't even know what that means anymore. Really? I mean, isn't it just all hot air? Now, it says here, let me get back to this Coin Week article here. I want to share the rest of this to you because it's their conclusion that had me all scratching my head and kind of miffed. Was I miffed? I don't know. Maybe I was, well, either way. Let me keep on keeping on. In 1931, the United Kingdom abandoned the gold standard, and by 1933, President Roosevelt and his administration had seen enough. All right. His Roosevelt administration had seen enough. Now, they don't blame it on any one person. They just say, well, it was the administration's idea. On April 5, 1933, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt issued Executive Order 6102, which called for a nationwide recall of gold and made it unlawful, you mean illegal, and they'll throw you in jail, right? Unlawful. I like how they... well, it's just unlawful. You don't want to do that. For Americans to privately own gold bullion. What? That's brutal in a free country. In 1944, Bretton Woods Agreement essentially pegged currencies around the world to the U.S. dollar and pegged the U.S. dollar to gold at a fixed price. In 1971, the Nixon administration put an end to the Bretton Woods system and made the dollar completely fiat currency based in faith, right? Pure faith. Lobbying for a return to hard money standard. Here we go. Not much left of this video. I tell you, it's an eye-opener. It really, really is. Calls for return to gold or sound money standard as a solution to economic instability and inflation are not new, especially now that the national debt has reached absurdly unrepayable levels. Why don't they blame that on not being on a gold standard, right? Or do they? Proponents argue the idea that tying currency to gold would bring stability and trust back to the financial system. I think it's too far gone. I don't think you're ever going to be repaying those $1 trillion in debt, even if they get back to the gold standard. That's why there's probably going to be a reset of the economic system. And it would probably happen sooner than later. They claim that it would prevent governments from excessively printing money and artificially inflating their economies. Absolutely. And but it would also put kind of a straitjacket or a governor on all that spending because it would be tied to how much gold they had in their reserves. And that's why countries like China they're brilliant to be buying all that gold up. And they say that the United States has a bunch of gold at Fort Knox. And, well, how much is there? I don't know. I don't know if anybody knows. But that is exactly how much money you should be able to print, and not a dime more. All right. It says here, however, economists have warned that returning to the gold standard would be a bad idea. Okay. I wonder who's paying them to say that? Now, one of its major flaws is that it limits the government's ability to respond to economic crises. In times of recession or depression, governments would not be able to increase the money supply to stimulate the economy, as would be constrained by the amount of gold reserves they had. Constrained. Yeah, that's probably a better word. I probably should have said that. Yeah, instead of a straitjacket. This could lead to prolonged economic downturns and hinder growth. I think we're in an economic downturn already, and we're not even on a gold standard, right? So all these arguments, it's like pouring water through a sieve. It just does not hold water. Moreover, a fixed exchange rate between gold and currency could also be problematic. I wonder what way. Let's find out. As the value of gold fluctuates, it would cause instability. See, would it fluctuate that much? I don't think it would. I think it'd be pretty level, have stasis, right? It would cause instability in international trade and make it difficult for countries to maintain their balance of payments. I think that's BS. Now, this was evident during the Great Depression, when many countries abandoned the gold standard in order to devaluate their currency and boost imports. Well, that's why, because they went off the gold standard. This would also prove to be a major problem for countries with global trade deficits, a fact that was also true during the mercantile era. Another issue with gold standard is its vulnerability to speculation. I doubt it. If a country's currency is tied to gold, then it can be subject to speculative attacks by traders betting against its value. I mean, they don't do that with anything now? This could cause severe damage to the economy and lead to financial crisis. You mean like we're in now? In conclusion, while the gold standard may sound appealing in theory, returning to it would not be a wise decision. There you go, folks. That's their conclusion. They're like, don't do it. It's bad because it limits the government's ability to manage the economy. You mean manipulate the economy, I think? Yeah, I think that's what they were trying to say. Create instability and in international trade, stifle growth, and make countries vulnerable to speculation. I think we're already under all of those. I hate that ASMR sound I just made out of my mouth. I apologize. It just limits our ability, period. All right. And that's not to say there's no merit in institutional or especially private holdings of precious metal bullion coins. Or why coins? Why get up bars? These products have shown over the decades to have a legitimate purpose and market demand, but monster boxes of bullion coins do not an economy make. I see what they're doing there. Besides, the immediate future of money is not like silver or gold discs or paper notes, but an encrypted string of ones and zeros, like it's binary, right? I don't know. What do you think, folks? Would it be a bad idea to go back to the gold standard? Or is this willy-nilly money printing working out for you? See, I don't know. It just, when you read articles like this, it sure makes you go, what in the wide world of sports are they talking about? Now, I got to say, this is from my video yesterday. I don't have any plus one other than the music today. If you know what's going on in the world out there in the Middle East, it's really sad. It's really awful. And, we just got to just make the most out of it. And, if somebody wants peace, I think, whether you like them or not, whether they're for you or against you, if they want peace, we should probably have peace and then work out the rest later, I would think. I think that's probably the most important thing that we could look into is making peace. And if you think that, somebody's such a bully that you can't go talk to them and make peace, then maybe you should reevaluate what's going on. Because if there's no peace, well, what have you got? I mean, what's the alternative? Is anybody even going to be around to even talk peace or even work out their differences later? Probably not. Now let's head over here to 395 99.9 KOI Coin News Radio. This is Soundgarden, Fell on Black Days, with lyrics on screen. So there it is, folks. I want to thank you for showing up, hanging out this long on the video. I know it takes a lot, but really do appreciate you. And if you could do me a favor, make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe. Stacker out.